It was a bright Saturday morning at the Ridgeway Country Club, where the city's elite gathered to play, gossip, and flaunt their wealth. The polished courts shimmered under the sun, and laughter echoed around the marble terraces. Vanessa Sterling, the elegant and feared CEO of Sterling Enterprises, was practicing her serve. Surrounded by board members pretending to admire her form, she was known for her power in business and her arrogance in life. Across the court, Michael Reeves, the janitor, was mopping the baseline quietly. His gray uniform was worn, his hands rough from years of work. He kept his head down, cleaning the clay stains no one else noticed. Vanessa twirled her racket and called out loud enough for everyone to hear. "Hey, Mike, you clean the courts better than our members play on them." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Mike smiled politely, continuing his work. "Tell me," Vanessa teased. Walking toward him, "You ever play tennis? Or just clean up after people who do?" The laughter grew louder, feeding her ego. Mike finally stopped mopping and looked up, his eyes calm and unreadable. "Played a little," he said softly. "Oh, really?" she mocked. "Then how about this? If you beat me in a match, I'll—" She paused for dramatic effect. "Marry you." Everyone gasped, then burst out laughing. Mike tilted his head slightly. "And if I lose?" Vanessa smirked. "Then you work the next year for free." The silence that followed was heavy. Then without hesitation, Mike nodded. "Deal." Her assistant whispered, "Miss Sterling, are you serious?" She waved it off, grinning. "Relax, he's a janitor." "This'll be entertaining." As Mike left the court, a quiet smile touched his lips. She didn't know who she was talking to. Years ago, he had stood on a much bigger stage, the U.S. Open, as Michael Hawk Reeves, a rising American tennis star, until one rainy night when his wife's car crash changed everything. He'd left fame, sold everything, and devoted his life to raising his little girl, Lily. Now the man she mocked was stepping back into the arena, not for pride, but for something far deeper. The next morning, the Ridgeway Club looked more like a stadium. News of the Janitor vs. CEO match had spread like wildfire. Members gathered in bleachers, holding coffee cups and smirks. Eager to watch a man be humiliated, Vanessa walked in, dazzling in her white tennis outfit, confident and unbothered. "Ready to lose, Mike?" she said, spinning her racket. Mike simply smiled. He wore an old t-shirt, frayed sneakers, and carried a weathered racket bag stitched with pink thread, Lily's handiwork. "Ready when you are," he said. The referee blew the whistle. Vanessa served first in a strong, fast shot, but before anyone could blink, Mike returned it with a perfect forehand that clipped the line. 15 love, the ref called. A murmur ran through the crowd. Vanessa brushed it off, served again. Another perfect return. In less than 10 minutes, Mike's movements grew smoother, faster. Every serve, every slice looked effortless. Vanessa's breathing grew heavy. Her confidence began to crack. By the first set's end, the scoreboard read 6-0. The crowd, once laughing, was now whispering. "Wait, he looks familiar. Isn't that Michael Reeves? The pro player from years ago?" Vanessa froze mid-swing. Cameras zoomed in. The commentator stuttered, "Ladies and gentlemen, that is Michael Hawk Reeves, former top 10 ATP player." The whispers turned into gasps. People remembered the tragedy, his wife's accident, his disappearance from the sport, the single father struggling quietly. Vanessa's hand trembled as she served again. Mike returned it without even looking, the ball landing inches inside the line. Match point. Vanessa fell to her knees, exhausted. Mike walked over and offered her his hand. She looked up, her arrogance shattered. "Why didn't you say who you were?" she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Because the game reveals truth better than words ever could." The crowd was silent as Mike dropped his racket and helped Vanessa to her feet. The scoreboard flashed 6-0, 6-0. Total defeat. "I didn't play to win you," he said gently. "I played to win something far more important." Little Lily, his 6-year-old daughter, ran onto the court, her tiny shoes slapping the clay. "Daddy, you did it!" she shouted, hugging his leg. Mike knelt beside her. "Remember what I told you, sweetheart?" She grinned. "Never let anyone tell you you're less because you're small or poor." The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed, but for once Mike didn't care about the headlines. Vanessa stood there, guilt washing over her face. I had no idea," she said quietly. "You could have had everything again." He shook his head. "Everything I need is right here." He glanced at Lily. Trophies gather dust. But love keeps you standing. Reporters rushed forward asking for interviews. Old fans cheering the return of the fallen star. Mike simply lifted his daughter and walked toward the exit. Behind him, Vanessa called out, "Mike!" He turned slightly. She took a deep breath. "I'm starting a new program. A scholarship for single parents. In Lily's name." Mike smiled for the first time that day. Then maybe this match was worth it after all. As they left the club, Lily whispered, "Daddy, are you going to marry the tennis lady now?" He chuckled softly. "No, sweetheart. She just learned something I already knew, that the heart's the greatest winner of all." The camera zoomed out. The former champion walking hand in hand with his daughter, sunlight breaking through clouds over the court where pride had fallen, and dignity had risen,